Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent's Backyard Redneckery. Tonight, I'm going to make one of my favorite all-time hot sauces. I've grown some Fatalis this year, which is a yellow pepper that's similar to a ghost, but not quite as hot and a little bit more tasty. And I'm going to mix that with some Bosc pears and some Bartlett pears and turn that into a wonderful hot sauce. So get ready. I'll tell you what you need to do. So first things first, let's go over our ingredient list. I've got Bosc pears, Bartlett pears that I've let get nice and ripe. We've got white wine vinegar. We've got lemon juice. We've got salt. We have a lemon that we're going to juice and zest. Now with the pears, what we'll do is cut them open and just get out the seeds, and then we're going to cook them. Peel everything. It's all going to get cooked, well, except for this part, because we don't want that in there. The Fatalis, I grew these in the garden this year, so they're pretty fresh. We're going to cut off the stems. We're going to take out the seeds. We're going to chop those up. Okay, now these peppers aren't super hot, but they're hot enough that I don't want to get this in my eyes. So I'm going to cut each pepper open, and then I'm just going to take out the seeds from the inside here and save these for next year. After I get them all chopped up, I'll put them in a food processor, and we'll cook these with the lemon zest. Okay, so I've chopped this up just a little bit more before I put it in the processor, and this stuff has burned my nose. So I have this tiny little chopper that I got from my grandmother's house, and it's really, really loud. And these peppers smell so bad that I'm going to chop them up outside because I don't want to stink up my house. Let's just see how well this works. And not too shabby, but it's got a long way to go. So I'm going to keep chopping. All right, so it turned out to do a pretty decent job. I'm afraid to lift this off of here because I know how bad it's going to smell. But let's take a look inside. Yeah, that chopped it up pretty good. So we'll move on to getting those pears chopped up and see how we can get all this put together. All right, so for our pears, we have to get all we need to really do is get our seeds out of here. And the seeds are usually in this bottom section. So we're going to split that in half, and right in there is where our seeds are. I'm just going to do it like so, and like so, and that's going to get my seeds out. The rest of it, I'm just going to take it, split it like this, and then like this, and chop all these up. Once I have all these chopped up, I'm going to blend them all together and then run them through a sieve to get any of the parts out that I don't want. Okay, so we're going to take our pears, and we're just going to dump them down in our pot here. And what we're going to do is we're going to juice a lemon, and we're going to put it in with these pears and take that and heat it over a medium heat until it turns into liquid and simmers up. Then we're going to reduce that heat until they're nice and soft, probably about a half an hour or so. We're going to remove it, cool it down, and then puree it in our food processor. So what I'm going to do to juice my lemon, I'm just going to constantly squeeze it until I get this to where it's almost like a deflated balloon. I would use my juicer, but I'm only doing one lemon, so I really don't see the point. All right, so I've got my lemon real spongy so I can get the juice out of it. And I only need about half a teaspoon of zest. So I'm going to run it across this little, not cheese grater, but I guess zester. And you can see it's just going to take off that top layer there, and that's what we're going to need. So I've got it zested. Looks like we might have about a half a teaspoon, which is what I need. And in order to juice our lemon, it's actually going to be rather simple since it's already so squeezed up. Really, all I got to do is that. And I can squeeze out the juice that I need. All right, with our lemon juice, we're going to go ahead and add that in, and I'm going to use this to catch seeds and whatever else. There's a couple seeds in there right as I look at it. And I'm going to get that turned on a low heat and let those pears start falling apart. All right, you'll have to forgive this grill. It's kind of old and gross, but it still cooks okay when it lights. There it goes. Woo, about blew up in my face. All right, so what we're going to do here is I've got about almost 3/4 of a cup of Fatali, and I've got close to about, I'd say, about a half a teaspoon of zest in there. All right. So while that's cooking down, I'll run in here and check on my pears. All right, what we're gonna do here with our pears, I'm gonna do these just like I do my apples. Now that I've got this kind of chopped up, I'm gonna turn up the heat to about a 3.5, 4, and we're gonna let that sit there and start to simmer. All right, so I'm starting to get a little bit of steam in here. I don't want to cook this till it burns, but I do want it to mix together pretty nicely. So I'm just gonna let it cook for about 5 more minutes. I about got that where I want it, and then we'll take it inside and check on our pears. All right, I have my pears chopped up as much as I can with my chopper. As you can tell, we got a pretty decent sauce in there. But we are going to put this on, we're going to keep it on the medium-low heat, about a 3.5 on electric. And we're going to let that sit here and simmer for about 30 minutes. So we're going to add it to our food processor after it cools. Once that happens, we're going to strain it through a sieve and get out the chunks of skin and whatever other funk is left in there. So all we have is the pear puree. All right, so we cooked this down for, I stopped at 25 minutes because it was getting good and mushy. And now we're going to plop this over into our food processor. Pop our lid back on here, and we're just going to puree this. Well, hopefully it won't all blow out the top. All right, that's good and pulsed and pureed. Oh yeah, it's like baby food, so that's about what I want. So what we'll do now is we're going to take all that pureed goodness and we're going to pour it in the sieve. And I'll probably have to push a lot of this through because it's going to be pretty thick. We're going to do this to get out any of the remainders of, or the remnants of the core, any of our peel, all of that kind of stuff. I'll take a rubber spatula and push it down on the sides. And what that'll do is push through some of the thinner liquid. You can see it going down in there. That's a lot of liquid, but by the time I'm finished, the only thing that'll be left in this sieve will be chunks of peel and chunks of core. So I'm going to take a few minutes here, get this knocked out. All right, so I have completely pushed that through, and that's what I have left over. So here's the puree we have left over. We got about 4 cups of it, and we've got about a cup of Fatali. Let's get it all in the food processor and get it done. All right, so we got that in there. Now we're gonna add in this, what looks to be disgusting pepper. We're gonna get that mixed in there, and we're gonna blend it up. Then we're gonna put it back on the stove. I'm gonna get this run for a minute. All right, I'll let that blend for about 2 minutes there. So now let's take a look inside and see what it's looking like. All right, so now it's all mixed up. What we're going to do is lift it up off of here, and we're going to pour it into here and let it cook on a boil for 15 minutes. Once it's done that, we're going to reduce the heat and let it simmer for 1 hour. So I ended up bringing this back outside again because it just started getting warm in there, and it about choked me to death. I couldn't stand the smell. So back on the grill it goes. All right, this has been simmering for an hour. It looks delicious and it's super hot. Now what we're going to do is transfer it into jars. I should only need 4 of these half pints, so we'll find out. So this is going to be a little bit incongruent with what's going on in the video, but I forgot to put in my vinegar and my salt, so I had to uncan it and recan it. So that's what happened right here. Since it's already warm, we're going to toss in 1 teaspoon of pickling salt. All right, so I've got 1 cup of white wine vinegar. Now we'll stir that back up and get it all mixed. And after it's mixed up, we're going to leave this on a low heat, put the lid on it, and then we're going to let it simmer for an hour. All right, so we're going to get all this in our jars. You're going to want to leave headspace. And your headspace, we're going to bring these right up to the bottom there. Just like anything else you're canning, make sure that your jars have been sterilized. Wipe them off before putting your lids on. Place your lid on there where it's pretty snug, and then get your ring, place it on there, make it finger tight. Since this is a liquid, we're not going to fill up our water bath all the way. I'm going to put it down right about there, but we're still going to bring this to a boil. All right, we're right at 10 minutes, so we're going to take these out, let them sit for a while, and see if they'll seal up. All of these sealed up just like they needed to. Our color's a little bit darker now since I added that vinegar. You know, go figure. So the color's different, but it's still super hot. All right, wraps up another episode of Brent's Backyard Redneckery. So we made ourselves a delicious hot sauce tonight. We've got the Fatali, which was almost a cup. And with our pear, we had 4 cups, a little bit over. The ratio is still pretty freaking hot. So if you decide to make this yourself, I'd probably cut the Fatali in half unless you like a really hot sauce. If you do, this is what you need. So if you learned something, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, come back next time. I'll tell you what you need to do. Y'all have a good one.